1 minute until showtime.
Whoa!
Yay. Wow, that was 102. That was great. I don't think we have to do another one. I think we're good. 102. Nice.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Now, from the world's most famous beach, from where beach racing began, it's the Legends of Racing radio show. Live from racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill in Ponce Inlet, Florida. The Legends of Racing radio show. And your host, Buzz McKim.
Hey!
Oh, well, thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate that round of applause. That really makes me feel good. We got Rich Combs with us today. He's sitting in for Gary, who's up in the Great White North, having a good time with his grandkids. And he'll be back in October.
And I'm glad to be here. This is wonderful. I mean, look at this group of people. Look at the ocean. Look at the sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
Look at our guests. Well,
yeah, that's
we're,
right.
We're here.
Yeah, that's right. Can't get any better than that, that's for sure. Well, we're having a grand old time here with our good friend, and he's almost like part of the show, actually. He's been here a few times before, and he's always great. He's always worth whatever we have to pay him to get him here. And Mr. George Levy, everybody.
Hey, George.
Hey. Yeah, George is the director of the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America at Daytona Speedway. And would you be called the director or the president or El Grande or what?
Figurehead.
Figurehead.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's my official duties.
Very good. Yeah, very good. So how does your week start? Say Monday morning. What's the first thing you do?
Just to continue on from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of all the stuff. It's a pretty consuming job and activity that we do, and we just had an induction in March, and we're already deep into the next induction.
No
so
kidding.
it never stops.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So you just turn it over constantly, then, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So much to the chagrin of my lovely wife, who's in the audience with us, Leanne, there. But it's pretty intense, pretty much all year long.
Yep. Takes a special kind of lady to put up with the kind of things that we're into, and luckily we found the right ones.
That's right.
Right? Isn't that right, Rich?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Well, the first thing I asked him when I sat down was, how's your life? And he says, oh, it's good. Everything's okay. I said, what about the new wife? He says, this is right. This is good. That's all you got to do. You get it right. So,
exactly. Yeah. After 42 years, almost 43 years, Gwen's decided that she probably got it right. Isn't that right, sweetheart?
And that's a coincidence because Leanne and I are going on 42 or 43 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that long? Oh, darn. It only gets better. That's for sure, yeah. So what's going on at the Hall of Fame these days?
Well, we got a bunch of things. Like I said, we're preparing for our next induction. We just announced the class of 2026. There are 9 people, a lot of names that you and everyone will recognize.
Oh, good.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Oh, that guy. Huh?
And, I always mention that I don't vote, our staff doesn't vote. We have 200 voters. I think we even let you vote occasionally.
That's right. So. Yeah, you're desperate.
And we try and make it as much the voice of the community as possible. So of those 200 voters, 100 of them are people like yourselves, experts around the nation in all the different forms of racing that we honor, which is every form of racing. And the other half are inductees themselves. So on vote count night, we're opening envelopes, and it's like, oh, wow, that's who Mario Andretti thinks should be in the Hall of Fame this year. And you pick up another one, it's like, oh, that's who the king, that's who Richard thinks should be in the Hall of Fame this year. And it's literally like that, and it still gives me goosebumps today.
Isn't that great? It's so nice that the job can still maintain that kind of, what am I saying? Yeah, you're excited about the job.
It's an incredible. It's the people, really, and I mean and you've worked at Hall of Fames, and you've been around our Hall of Fame. It's like, you induct people. You don't induct race cars. You don't induct. I mean, we love all that stuff, but the people. There's so many great people and so many great stories.
Boy, that's for sure.
What keeps everything fresh.
Yeah, it's the people that make it work. That's for sure.
And every year there's a new list of inductees. Like this year, we've got Earnhardt Jr., Steve Gibbs in drag racing is a beloved figure who's been around forever. John Morton, the sports car driver who's raced almost everything for up until a few years ago, and he's in his 80s. I mean,
is that right?
Oh my God!
Oh my gosh! Jeez.
And he's he's almost like always been a slender, smaller guy, big glasses. He looked a little bit like the old silent movie star Harold Lloyd.
Oh yeah.
and he's so unassuming and doesn't make a big fuss, but he's incredibly fast and is built up.
Those are the guys you got to watch out for. The ones that are unassuming. They'll sneak up on you for sure. I see you have Joe Boyer, great early Indianapolis driver. Won Indy in 24.
That's correct.
Thank you.
And he actually has a distinction that is a little bit controversial, but he's the only guy who won the Indy 500 and the Gold Cup in powerboat racing.
Really?
The previous year.
I did not know that.
Well, and there's good reason. You didn't know that. So in both cases, he played a sort of pinch hit role, and in fact. When the Indy 500 started in 1911, the race was like 6-7 hours long,
right.
And relief drivers were common. In fact, Ray Haroon, who won the first race, there was a gentleman named Cyrus Patchke who relieved him for like an hour or so of the race. But at that time, only the starting driver got credit.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened with Boyer. The car that it was a Duesenberg that L.L. Corum, one of his teammates, and Boyer was in the race. He was driving another Duesenberg, and his car broke. An hour, 100 laps are in, or something like that. And so the whichever Duesenberg brother was calling the shots said, "You know what? Next pit stop, we're going to put you in Corum's car," and he did, and he took it from like a third or fourth to first, and he was those are guys are the first two that were co-credited. So on the 24, on the Borg Warner Trophy, it has both those guys' names.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then the same thing the previous year with the Gold Cup. Boyer was like royalty in Detroit. His dad ran Burroughs adding machines, which was like the equivalent of Microsoft.
I hear he came from money. He certainly did.
Significant money, and his family, just implored him, to give up this little hobby that he was doing. But there isn't a lot of data, but he drove one of the heats during the 23 Gold Cup when Caleb Bragg was the name of the primary driver. So
really?
So Boyer, he was a fascinating guy, incredibly accomplished, and sadly he was killed a few months after winning Indy in 24 in a racing accident.
Yeah, at Altoona. Yeah. In fact, they say that one of his last words was, "Tell the blonde in Pittsburgh I'm not going to be there tonight," or something along that line.
One of the things that I've been studying, not as a hard study, but just paying attention to, is the construction standards of those early Indianapolis and Formula One cars, and it's pushed me over to running Bonneville and the cars they had in those days. None of those cars were very safe. None of them were built for a wreck. They knew they were going to happen. And one of the things I look for in all the old pictures is the guy's head above the roll bar. And 90% of them, the helmets above the roll bars. No way it'll work.
And the roll bar looked like a paper clip.
Yeah, it was particularly because it was coming out of, most of those, the chassis were coming out of England, and they used very thin. They just wanted a shape. And then the boys who were at Bonneville, you know, they were getting the belly tanks off of the planes and building a car in the belly tank with no structure whatsoever.
That's right.
And running almost 200 miles an hour in a belly tank with no structure on it. So all of these things are way interesting, and I know that's what you do every day also. So
it's amazing, and even we've talked about this before. We have in the museum Sir Malcolm Campbell's Bluebird, the final one that ran at Daytona, and said to have touched 300 miles an hour right out here on the beach in 1935. In this 10,000-pound vehicle with a giant Rolls-Royce engine in the front of it. And if you can imagine, you know, in whatever you think the safest car is today, you probably still wouldn't try and go 300 miles an hour in it on the beach here. And he did that 90 years ago.
And no helmet, just a cloth
that's
headpiece.
Right. Yeah. But you had to keep your hair in place.
Of course, yes. He was the English gentleman, you know, so he must have looked dapper at all times.
Well, look at all the old NASCAR photos of the guys we think were heroes and big racers, and they're in the in racing with a white T-shirt on.
Oh, sure.
And that's it. Yeah. No protection whatsoever. How do you live through that? You know.
Well, wasn't it one of the Flock brothers had like polo shorts and?
Funny.
Yeah.
He had Bermuda shorts. He called them. And knee socks and wingtips. That was his racing uniform. He was a character.
Different time.
And then we got Kenny Roberts Jr. It's one thing. I mean, Kenny's already in, right?
Kenny's already in, and that's you know, that's pretty exciting. The Roberts will now be, I think, the 11th or 12th father and son grouping that are in the Hall of Fame. There are about 300 people over the past 40 years who've been inducted into the Hall of Fame across all these categories. But Kenny, like his dad, won the Motorcycle Racing World Championship. Very few Americans have done that. And in fact, Roberts Jr. Was the only one of a handful, including his dad, that wasn't yet in the Hall of Fame. So the voters saw that and said, you know what, that guy, American world champion, deserves to be in here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's as big as Phil Hill or Mario Andretti winning the world championship, right?
It's pretty amazing.
It's unusual for an American to do that sort of thing.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's pretty wild. Yeah, and then you got Pete Lyons, a great photographer, wasn't he?
Photographer and writer.
And
you know, we have a media category, and Pete Lyons. I was just talking with Pete last night. That's the other thing that's wonderful. If anybody wants to meet a lot of fantastic racing people, next March 9th and 10th here in Daytona is when our induction ceremony is. And the two historic inductees go back way back, and they're long deceased. But the other 7 are all living and are all going to, you know, God willing, be there in March. And Pete, he started out, his dad was named Ozzie Olson. He was...
You're kidding. Ozzie Olson.
Well, Ozzie Lyons. I'm sorry.
Because Ozzie Olson he was a toilet seat manufacturer.
But Ozzie Lyons, Pete's dad, was a photojournalist, and he was the American correspondent for Autosport, like back in the 50s.
Holy cow!
Yeah, and then Pete, you know, was going to the races with him, and eventually, you know, he took over. He was even today, whether you talk to people here or in Europe, you know, they talk about Pete as being, you know, maybe the best Formula One reporter ever.
Really?
He followed the circus for mainly in the 70s for like about 10 years, and you know, he had a red Corvette. He'd drive to the races. He'd sleep in a sleeping bag underneath a truck or something like that. This was not glamorous or anything, but he's a fabulous writer, fabulous photographer, written a number of Can-Am books that are extremely popular.
Oh, yeah.
He another great choice.
Oh, man, amazing. And then you got Sammy Swindell, All-American racer.
Slam and Sammy.
Oh, boy, nobody was better at the World of Outlaws than old Sammy.
Yeah, it's terrific that that he's going in. Steve Kinzer came in 4 or 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Doug Wolfgang is probably the last of that generation where you go. I would hope that he would get recognized very soon too, because all three of those guys were just amazing, and Sammy was by some accounts as good or better than any of them.
Yeah, I'd show up just to see if he smiled. He's not known for his smile. He's very low key.
Well, it's funny you say that because every year I have the honor of calling each of these individuals up and saying, hey, by the way, you are welcome to the Motorsports Hall of Fame, and the reaction varies, and a lot of times you're catching people off guard because they don't we don't make the voting public. It's not like, oh, I know I'm getting called or anything. And I called Sammy, and it took me a while to get through to him, and when I finally got through, he goes, okay.
That sounds like him. It's Mr. Low Key himself. Jeez. And then Dave Wilmook.
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
Yeah. He's he's only the most successful powerboat racer of all time.
Is he really?
He really is.
Oh my
and
gosh.
all the guys, and Chip Hanauer is a great friend of the Hall of Fame. And some, and as you know, there are different eras. So even if somebody has the stats, you can argue, well, is he really better than so and so came? And it's like in drag racing. Like, is anybody really better than Garlitz? They have more wins, but there were fewer races when Garlitz was doing it. So so you can make the argument many ways. But Bill Walk is without question, he has the stats and the experience with that.
Wow, no
make
kidding.
him one of the absolute all-time greats.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
And then Bill Holland, Indianapolis 500 winner and championship roller skater. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yes, he was a championship roller skater. How about that? Just like Morgan Shepherd in the NASCAR ranks there.
We might have to do a recount then of that.
Oh, okay.
No, tell me about that. He really was a championship roller skater.
Yeah.
Wow.
He loved to roller skate.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then he got sideways with AAA there for a while, and he came to drive for NASCAR in the early 50s. And the story goes that he and Bill France actually were in a plane crash together. so supposedly he was coming in for a landing, and the gear didn't come down, and they kind of crash landed.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
Well, and the roller skating thing is makes a fair amount of sense. It just you think. I mean, we've all raced to some degree, not particularly with any particular distinction in my part, but that balance you need, and to know exactly what whether it's your butt in a seat or your butt above those skates. I mean, that balance, that having that sense of exactly what's going on and what you have to do to stay on the right side of things.
Yep. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with George Levy, everybody.
Yeah. Oh, good deal.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. At Beach Boys Embroidery and Tees, it's all about making you happy. Beach Boys Embroidery can customize your athletic golf apparel, caps, hats, badges, buttons, magnets, backpacks, bags, totes, clocks, watches, and of course, T-shirts. Sure, they're at 2033 South Ridgewood Avenue in South Daytona, and they're waiting for you to call now. 386-255-5880. Beach Boys Embroidery and Tees. Let Aloha Marine get you on the water with huge discounts on great brands like Bayliner, Carolina Skiff, Hurricane, Key West, and Regal. Pay as little as $169 a month with 10% down and approved credit. Don't wait. Get to Aloha Marine, 1700 North Nova Road, Holly Hill, Monday through Saturday. 47 years and always better than boat show prices. We're back from where it all began, racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim.
Oh, I do appreciate that, everybody. And we got Rich Combs here with George Levy. And we thank everyone for being here today. We really do appreciate that. And everyone out there tuning in. we thank you for taking time out of your day to see what we're up to. And this segment's being brought to you by Staples on International Speedway Boulevard. Anything for the office they can do for you. And if you want to take a look at what we're doing live, you can go to YouTube and go to the Legends of Racing radio show page. And if you want to go an hour later, we posted on Facebook the Legends of Racing radio show Facebook page. So, yeah, you were talking about how Joe Boyer was really, he kind of transcended the sport in his day. He was part of high society and kind of a JFK Jr. of his day, more or less. Huh?
Yeah, that's a great analogy. I mean, that's literally, the kind of esteem in which he was held. He came from a famous family. He was the toast of Detroit and really a lot of national society.
Interesting. That's something else. Yeah, and then we've got, let's see, that's quite a collection of people, that's for sure. And who did Dave Wilmot drive for?
So he drove for a number of teams. He drove the Miss Budweiser for a while, and now his team owner is a guy named Bill Ratchford, and he's going to be coming to our event with a contingent of Dave's teammates and fans and
that's cool.
stuff. So it should be a really nice thing.
Yeah.
Should be good. He's got a big fan base, huh?
Yeah.
That's super. So who's one of you're most excited about this year? I know Dale Jr. is going to be really good for business, for sure.
I'm not allowed to be more excited about anyone than others, but some that I have particular connection to are. Being a media guy, Pete Lyons. When I was the boy editor of Auto Week back in the 1980s, I convinced Pete to write for us, and so I knew firsthand just how good and how clean and how magical his copy was and his photography was. The other one was around the same time. I was one of the original Datsun 510 kids.
No kidding.
Those little shoebox Japanese cars.
Sure.
And you could modify them easily, cheaply, and well. And you could, you'd slam them, and you'd get some big wheels and tires on there, and you'd try and do some engine mods and stuff, and you could run circles around. Most sports cars of the day.
I'll be darned.
And John Morton was driving for another of our inductees, Peter Brock, for the Brock Racing Enterprises team. And so, I've always had a soft spot for John and what he's contributed to the sport.
Yeah, interesting. Well, we had heard a story that, in fact, I think Peter Brock might have written that you were a pretty fair driver in your day.
I was an okay driver in my day.
Yeah,
so,
can we hear a little bit about it?
Yeah, I was talking to Buzz yesterday, and I said, when we questioned George before on this, he sort of backed off. He was very shy about it. But anything Peter Brock says and puts in print is meaningful. He doesn't mess with words, and he says you are a good shoe.
If he said that, he was probably being kind or joking. But to put it one way, in one of, if not my last race, I drove off the side of a mountain. So that gives you an idea.
Oh, I bet that was interesting.
I was doing a little bit of pro rally in this country, which was tended to be on logging roads at different parts around the country. And this was the Susquehannock Trail rally up near where Gary is now. And I cooked a turn a little too hard coming around a mountain and went over the side. Yeah.
Really? You didn't tear yourself up at all, did you?
I was, you have a co-driver. We were both extremely lucky. We were in a production class, so we were in a Volvo, and so it didn't hurt. Here's all shout out and props to Volvo for making a very safe car. We had a full cage and everything. And but as we were tumbling down, and we were, it wasn't like obviously a 10,000 foot mountain or anything, but it was above the tree line, and so the first part of the tumble really wasn't very eventful, other than Well, you do pro rallies at night, and for the most part, this was at night.
Right.
And you had these, and because you were doing it at night, and because you're in the middle of the woods, there's no ambient light at all. So you had these incredibly powerful lights in the front of the car.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember as we were tumbling down the mountain, I was, instead of thinking about, oh my God, I could die, I was going, wow. Look at those cool circles of light that the lights are literally painting on the side. I can still picture it. It was like the most beautiful natural light show until there was a big thud, and then everything went dark. We found out later that two things happened. One is that the battery got ejected through the hood of the car.
Really?
Which took the power supply away from the lights. But also we had impaled the car on the side of the car on a big tree stump right behind the driver's seat. And if that had been a few inches forward, I'd probably either not be here or walking kind of funny today.
Wow, isn't that amazing, huh?
Yeah.
You had Guardian Angel riding with you, didn't you?
For sure.
Amazing. Who was your co-pilot?
This is going to be really embarrassing, but it was a fellow that pinch hit just that one time. And for some reason, he never wanted to do it again. I don't really understand.
I can't imagine.
But a super nice guy, but that was a long time ago, and the name escapes me.
Yeah. I bet that was thrilling, though, to do it at night. I can't even imagine what that's like.
It was very cool, and you do stages, and so you'd do like 10 minutes of driving your absolute hardest, and you're and you're on logging roads, dirt roads, and so you're sideways the whole time, and it was very exciting.
Or was the Volvo front wheel drive?
No, it was rear wheel drive.
Oh yeah.
Well, and that brings up a funny thing. Like in racing, we have one of the vehicles we have on display now is the first. It's a Ford Bronco. Is the first four-wheel drive vehicle that ever won overall at the Baja 1000.
Really?
But it is also the last.
Our guy Tony just ordered from Ford Motor Company a Bill Strop original, or not original, but built like that, red, white, and blue with all the gear on it. It's coming to Daytona.
Wow.
That is awesome. And those are great vehicles. And Bill Strop was just inducted in March. And so Wayne Schmeckley is a huge Strop fan. He has a team that's running. Shelby Hall, Rod Hall's granddaughter, is driving.
Wow.
And they've got Broncos that are done up in Strop colors that are running in the Baja 1000, the other major event. So,
Holy cow.
But yeah, that was also the only vehicle that's ever, only four-wheel driver vehicle that's ever won overall at Baja. And everyone just sort of assumes, oh, well, those must all be four-wheel drive vehicles. The fastest ones aren't.
Is that right?
Yeah.
When Tony's Bronco arrives here within the next 2 weeks, maybe you could go out and give him a little demonstration on how you're supposed to drive those things.
Yeah. Well, Tony, are you planning to drive that off a mountain, off the side of a mountain? Because I'm probably one of the best experts on that, for sure.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I saw one of those Broncos over at Yeoman's last week when I was over there, and that is a magnificent piece of machinery. So more power to you, Tony. Now we know who has all the money around here. Yeah.
Well, and Tony, you know that there was a series of Strop Broncos, production Broncos back in the 60s. He was like the Carroll Shelby of off-roading, where those Strop Broncos from the 60s are incredibly collectible now.
Oh, boy. I'll bet.
Yeah, they're wonderful vehicles.
Yeah, Strop set up a team of Mercury Comets in 1965 that went from the southern tip of South America all the way to Fairbanks, Alaska. It was an endurance run. Took 40 days. They averaged about 40 miles an hour, 16,000 miles over the Andes and across deserts and everything else. And that was one of Strop's claims to fame.
Indeed.
Setting that up.
And winning Baja himself with Parnelli Jones.
Oh, yeah.
And the Big Ole Broncos,
Yep.
which were, like Formula One cars brought to off-road racing.
They were amazing. We were at Baja in '72. I was with a team from Daytona that went down there.
Oh, well, you were there. That was
in
running.
'72. Yep. And supposedly the scuttlebutt going around town was that they had their system down so tight that Parnelli would drive and that Strop would do the shifting. And I can't imagine what that was like.
Yeah.
But they got it done, though. They won.
Well, did you know that Big Ole Bronco had a adjustable wing
No.
And the people it this giant wing over the center of the vehicle, and people
Right.
assume, well, that was for downforce. So no, it was not. They spent so much time off the ground, and the Bronco is a short wheelbase vehicle,
Yeah.
that the attitude that the car is sailing through the air is so. Parnelli would get the thing off the ground, and Strop would be there,
Yeah.
adjusting the wing to make sure that they flew, straight and level until they came back.
Holy
to Earth.
cow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, either one of those stories is just remarkable, really.
Well, in this case, that's going to be Doris with her adjusting the wing, right, Doris? There we go.
There you go. Hey, we're going to take a quick break, but right back with George Levy, everybody.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Racing's original North Turn is our broadcast headquarters. If you're looking for a good drink, great entertainment, and the best in food, they're right on the beach at Racing's original North Turn. Come on down to dinner tonight. Here are a couple of testimonials. These are actual testimonials from people who have enjoyed the North Turn. Been there many times, always great food and drinks, great location on the beach. And another, what a great experience. It's my new favorite restaurant in the Daytona Beach area, Racing's original North Turn on South Atlantic Avenue. That's A1A in Ponce Inlet, about 3.2 miles south of the Dunlawton Bridge and A1A intersection. It's Racing's original North Turn, a restaurant, museum, bar, gift shop, live music. That's Racing's North Turn. Racing's original North Turn has been voted by you best beach bar top 10 year after year after year. We're back from where it all began. Racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim.
Oh, thank you, everybody. And Rich Combs is here helping out. And this segment's being brought to you locally by Daytona Flea and Farmers Market, voted one of the top 5 markets in the country by USA Weekend. Visit our Shop Now network and our Shop Now at the Daytona Flea and Farmers Market Facebook page for the latest in vendor tours. And we got Tony here. Hey, it's Tony time.
Hey, Tony!
Well, first off, Major League Baseball has managed to forgive Pete Rose.
Yes.
And I'm hopeful NASCAR will take a hint and at least put Smokey on the nomination.
There
All
you
right.
go.
Yes, sir.
I
Yeah,
like that.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah, we'll pass that along to the powers that be. Yeah, it's about time. Yeah.
Do you have any stroke artifacts at the hall?
Yeah, we do, as a matter of fact. So every year when people are inducted, we have a museum right there on the grounds of the Speedway, and we're so fortunate to be part of the Speedway, and they are great landlords. We've got close to 150,000 people a year coming through our facility, and to honor our new inductees, we have display cases that have artifacts from each of them, and some of these things, whether it's Bill Strop or any of the other Miguel Duhamel or any of the other, Dale Jarrett is one of the inductees from this current year. That we have some really priceless artifacts of theirs in those display cases.
I did read a story that Stroke got involved with Ford because as a young guy, he was working with Clay Smith,
Yes.
another big name, on flathead Fords.
Yep.
And they were able to rev way higher than Ford engineers ever thought. He put it in a boat and went to Michigan, won a boat race that had the manufacturers in it. That's how he got connected with Ford.
I'll be darned.
That's absolutely.
Is that right?
Right,
I'll be darned. Then he was involved with the Lincolns, I believe, that went down the Mexican road race in the mid-'50s. And he was everything Mercury. And if you had any Mercuries in NASCAR, they probably came out of Strop's shop. And whereas Holman and Moody had the Ford aspect, and then Strop had the West Coast and the Mercury.
Well, by the way, I have another tip for Doris.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Tony gets the car. So I haven't been able to verify this story. Several people that were that Newstrop and Parnelli swear this is true. Others are. I don't remember that, but as the story goes, have you ever been to a baseball game and they give away as a promotion those mini bats, those mini baseball bats? The story goes that Bill carried one of those in the car during Baja. Whenever Parnelli got too crazy, he would take out the bat and start banging on on Parnelli's helmet. So if that helps, keep him in line, it might be a good tip. So
that's great.
I think she already has one in the regular car.
Apparently was known to get a little crazy from time to time.
Absolutely.
Really.
He was one of the all-time greats.
Oh, man. So what are some of the new things that you've got on the floor now?
Well, one of the newest things is we just, thanks to one of our great friends, Bruce Smith, and Environmental Construction, we have a high-end simulator, and my daughter Casey is with us today, and I want to give her a shout out. And yesterday she came to the Hall of Fame and tried out the simulator.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's and this is the full deal where it's on gimbals, and so if you see a crack in the pavement and you drive over the crack, you're gonna feel it in the seat and the steering
Holy
wheel,
cow,
and
is that right?
and depending on what braking system the car has, it's going to judder under braking. And Casey tried Daytona first, because a lot of the people that come to our facility want to see what it's like to drive the track. That's 100 yards on the other side of a couple of walls.
Right.
And she did great around Daytona. And then one of our guys, Mike, who helps people with the simulator, says, you should try Monza.
You're kidding. Oh, my gosh.
And that was Case, was that a little more challenging?
Yeah. Did they have the parabolic curve on that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Did you have all those rumble strips and everything?
Oh, yeah. And on top of that, you can set it up any way you want, but these are races, so you have other cars around you.
Wow.
So,
that's awesome.
and if you leave a little opening and there's a car behind you, you gotta be careful that they're not going to slide in and try and take your place.
Well, so she made you proud, huh?
She made me very proud.
Oh, that's great.
She always makes me proud.
Congratulations, Casey. Yay. Very good. That's some. Now, you have a Panos exhibit coming up with a hologram?
Yeah, we're so excited about this. Don Panos was one of the people who contributed most to racing in the last 50 years, and he's deceased. He passed away about almost 10 years ago now, and but he was a very quiet guy. He was behind the scenes, and in fact, there are a lot of us in the room today that are over 60. When he was 62 years old, he was watching his son building these production cars, these Panos sports cars, and Don wasn't a racing fan. He hadn't grown up around racing or anything, but he was a very smart guy. He's one of the great entrepreneurs in the country. He was the first guy that figured out how to sell generic medicine to hospitals. And
really?
Up until that point, they had just bought a name brand because no one. This goes back a ways, and they were all like, well, we might get sued if we use generics and stuff. And he's like, no, and he convinced. He was a fantastic entrepreneur. He was a fantastic salesman. He convinced them all, no, this stuff is absolutely as good.
Yeah.
It will save you a ton of money.
Wow.
And everyone will. The bills for patients will be lower. Everyone wins. Although I think we're all wondering where our savings is coming from the bills. But anyhow, he did all these amazing things. He started at 62 years old. One day he was with his son, and he said, I think you could sell more of these sports cars if you went racing. Porsche goes racing, Corvette goes racing, Ferrari goes racing. You should go racing. Well, and Dan, his son, who's a good friend of the Hall of Fame, was like, Dad, that sounds great, but I've got everything that I can possibly muster just to do a good job on these production cars. And those Panos sports cars, you don't have one of those, do you?
No.
They're pretty sweet. They're pretty wonderful little cars. And so Don, being Don, just said, oh, well, mind if I do it then? And he started Panos Racing. They won, at Daytona. They won at Le Mans. They won at Sebring. Later on, they won the Indy 500, or their chassis won the Indy 500. So it's an amazing story. We have an exhibit that's up, and it's sort of soft opened and now, but the thing that we're going to be introducing in the next few weeks is that we wanted people, this is about Don Panos. It's, the cars are great, the artifacts, and we have all sorts of wonderful things, but it's really about him. So how do you bring him to life? We literally did that, where we have a hologram player, and we got an actor who resembles Don, and then with the magic of CG and AI, you could do a face replacement so that people will be able to, in a few weeks, come into the Hall of Fame and press a button and have a conversation with Don Panos.
Oh, man, that'd be something to see.
We're very excited about it.
Yeah, we'd like to see that. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with George Levy and more stuff on the Hall of Fame.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Daytona Flea and Farmers Market is still the one for great savings and the best variety. Whether you need flowers and trees for your home or you're looking for great prices on Daytona Beach souvenirs, the market is the place to go. The market features 1,000 booths, 2 air-conditioned malls, a restaurant, and 9 snack shacks. Hops Grill features gourmet burgers and garden blend salads. Treat yourself to a great variety of brat and hot dog creations at the Doghouse, or enjoy a refreshing drink at the Seltzer Oasis. The market is open every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and is 90% undercover, so you can shop rain or shine. There's never a charge for parking or admission. Enjoy our monthly classic car cruise-in on the first Saturday of every month, and garage sale weekend, the third weekend of every month. See all we have to offer at DaytonaFleaMarket.com, or like us on Facebook. Discover Daytona's most unique shopping experience, the Daytona Flea and Farmers Market, just a mile west of the Speedway. We're back from where it all began, racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. You're very kind. And easily impressed, I must say. And we thank Rich Combs for being here today.
Thank you.
And helping out. Appreciate that. He's always there when we need him, that's for sure. Yeah. And this segment's being brought to you by the Homewood Suites by Hilton over on Bill France Boulevard, right around the corner from the Speedway. You might have a hard time getting there this weekend because they have Rockville, 200,000 people there. Is it hard getting to work?
Oh my God!
Yeah.
That event. How many people here are familiar with Rockville? It's a 3 or 4 day rock concert with 20 bands.
150.
150. I was close.
Yeah.
And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger every year, and there's just swarms of people going in there. And I don't know how they manage to stay hydrated, out there in the baking sun all day, but it's so popular.
It's crazy, but you don't want to try to get a room there now. You might want to wait till things settle down a little bit. But every room's a suite, and they have complimentary breakfast and complimentary happy hour, and they're just nice people. So we've got our own personal legend right here, Owen Hopes. Hey, Owen.
Hey, Olin.
Hey, you've got a question.
Thank you.
You've got a question for George, right?
George, I've known you for a little while, and going out to the museum and looking at all the cars out there that you've had, my favorite that I saw out there was the Mickey Thompson Pontiac record car. That was, back in the day, was an engineering defeat. I mean, it was really something to see. That's one of my favorite cars.
You and me both, Owen.
And how did you get hooked up with doing that museum?
My predecessor, a gentleman named Ron Watson, and you met Ron.
Oh, yeah.
And was just a super guy. And I don't know how he did this. When you think about the first year of the Hall of Fame, it started in Novi, Michigan. It was a group of town councilmen who were just sitting there one day going, well, how do we get a little bit more of attention on our town? And they decided to start a Hall of Fame. And that first year, he's reaching out to A.J. Foyt and Phil Hill and Richard Petty and saying, we started a Hall of Fame and you're going to be in it. Would you mind coming to the induction ceremony? And in those years, without any money, any big backing or anything, he made all this work. But anyhow, he built the thing up over the first 30 years or more. And somewhere about 2012, 13, we met, and he had this wonderful Tom Sawyer painting the fence quality about him, where he was like, this is awful fun. You would probably enjoy doing this work a lot, and he had that just a wonderful. And he was such a nice guy. We became good friends, and that's how I got involved with the Hall of Fame.
Well, I appreciate you answering my question, and I hope you have a lot of luck with that baby out there.
Well, I appreciate that so much, and it's to honor people like you that have given so much to the sport. Some of the people here know Owen's background, but I mean, it's he is a true legend of the sport. And that Mickey Thompson car, it's a 4-engine beast that went over 400 miles an hour at Bonneville, and Mickey built it in his garage, and he was not a trained engineer. He had to synchronize the engines. He had to, synchronize the shifting, and long before there were computers. It is one of the many marvels that we have inside the Hall of Fame.
Thank you very kindly. Thanks for being on our show.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Owen.
We'll be talking to you.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I'll look forward to it.
Yeah. Yeah, that Mickey Thompson car is really tremendous, and I'm glad to see it's still there.
Danny Thompson, Mickey's son, is the one who has, loaned it to us, and we are just thrilled, absolutely thrilled to have it there for however long Danny wants us to keep having it on display.
Interesting. Now, any of you powerboat hydroplane folks are fans, they have the Dean Van Lines.
The Atlas Van Lines.
The Atlas Van Lines hydroplane right there. You can't miss it. It kind of takes up a lot of space.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that's going to be moving out pretty soon.
Yeah, so it's been with us for a number of years. It's one of the winningest hydroplanes ever. It'll probably be moving out sometime in the next few months. Chip Hanauer drove it to a record numbers of wins. When we were talking about Dave Villalock before, a lot of people, consider Chip to be, the greatest of all time. Others consider Garwood, going way back, to be the greatest of all time. But certainly all great. And Fran Muncy, Bill Muncy's wife, commissioned that boat. And when Bill died tragically in the boat that preceded that, they had happened to have a conversation where he had said, well, if something ever happens to me, I'd like you to continue with the team. Now, she didn't have that boat racing background or anything like that, as she didn't think of herself as a racer. But she wanted to fulfill that promise that she made to Bill, became the winningest owner of all time.
Really?
Wow.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and I asked Chip about that once, because ownership can mean many things, and some people it's more of a checkbook thing. Some are more hands-on, and I said, well, give me an insight into Fran and what role she played, and he said, George, Fran Muncy is the single most competitive person I've ever met, and that includes me.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Holy cow! Well, she sure got the results, didn't she?
She did, and she's to this day she's an amazing person, and we're looking forward to seeing her at the next induction.
Well, she's a member of the Hall of Fame, isn't she?
Yeah, she got inducted a few years ago, and again, I mean, as the winningest powerboat owner of all time, she has the credentials that she well deserved.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Getting back to Don Panos.
Yep.
Do you think you're going to get a chance to get a Delta wing?
I'm pretty sure we will, because we already have one.
That's the wildest looking thing.
We have two Panos cars on display, and we have an agreement with the Panos family that over time we're going to rotate, because he did so many, like I said, there's a Panos that won the Indy 500, there's Panos that won in its class at